Well, you know what they say about all good things, right? Episode 18, The First Supper, took a look at the last few episodes and was all like, who wants to watch gay stuff like that? The people want shitty storylines. And then raped the last 3 episodes while making their children watch like a sick, fucked up bastard. And here we are. Is it a bad episode? Is it a good episode? Well, no and no. It's not half bad for what it has to be, I guess. That clone of Da Vinci is back, and now he's somehow painting huge detailed murals of all the characters on their homes, hideouts, and stations, including Rebecca, her butler, Nix, and Nix's boss, Percival. Somehow these paintings lead all the characters to come together and then meet for a staged First Supper, which it never explains how the fuck they found the location for the supper. Like, really? There were no fucking directions. They were just pictures. I mean, if nothing else, it's a good example of Lupin III's ability to be smooth, suave, and fun to watch, even at its worst of times. This episode at least showcases Blue Jacket's suspense writing, which is unarguably the strongest suspense writing of pretty much any instance of Lupin III in the past. It starts off alright, with the characters coming together to question just what the fuck is going on, and then it gets really slow for a while, as the majority of the episode is literally just Lupin and the others sitting down and eating some Italian food while Lupin deduces just what the fuck is going on. Which is kind of fun to watch, but unfortunately you keep getting reminded that what is going on is fucking lame and retarded. They prattle on fucking nonsense about the Dream of Italy shit some more, because that can't be something that's dead and left alone, and really, it just keeps rubbing it in that Blue Jacket has made some bizarre and poorly plotted out attempt to have some kind of greater storyline. It's got some alright action towards the end, with some of the most offensive stormtrooper syndrome I have ever seen in Lupin III, and really, all the nonsense babble about the Dream of Italy aside, it's not a half-bad episode, even if it had some weird and blatant problems like how the characters just magically knew where to go for the dinner, or how the fuck did clone of Da Vinci set all this up. Like, he obviously did all this himself, but how does he serve so much food when it's all steamy and hot from the kitchen? Like, did he make all this classic beautiful Italian food and then just fucking leave it in a steam tray under a fucking heat lamp? Oh well, not a really good episode, but not an episode that could have been as bad as it might have been. 3 out of 5 Lupins. With 18 being a slightly weaker episode, I wasn't exactly thrilled for episode 19, Dragons Sleep Soundly, with it being a direct continuation of episode 18 and everything. It expands on the Da Vinci plotline, and honestly, it's a pretty good episode. It's very, very action-centric, and honestly, pretty violent. And a lot like way back in episode 9, it's got a pretty big body count and a lot of guys getting shot and blown up and shit like that. Our story follows a group of mercenaries who have stolen a disc, known as the Dragon's Tail, from MI6. The disc contains a detailed list of all the active agents, so naturally it's a pretty important fucking disc. And so naturally, Lupin wants to steal it, as it will give him and the others an important tool for getting the agency off their backs. Nix gets wrapped up in all of it when Percival forces him back into the agency, after Nix had left it prior to the previous episode, because Percival needs an agent he knows couldn't be the one that leaked the Dragon's Tail disc to the mercenaries, so it really all lines up quite well for a Lupin III plot. The rest of the episode is pretty dark and serious in tone. Lupin gets caught in his attempt to steal the disc from the mercenaries, led by a guy that looks like Simon Belmont from Captain In if he had a fucking rectal ulcer, named Fox. Nix, however, has also infiltrated the mercenaries, posing as one of them. This, of course, ends up with them both getting caught. After torturing Nix in kind of a really dark, at least for Lupin standards, torture scene, Fox gets Lupin to tell him the passcode needed to crack the information on the disc. This is when shit really gets real, however, as MI6 instigates their backup plan, which, with the Dragon's Tail having been stepped on, is to unleash the dragon, namely, blow everything the fuck up. Fox gets killed in the bombing, and the mercenaries are suddenly being taken out by a bunch of MI6 operatives, and it starts to play off like a fucking combat war show more than Lupin III, but not really in a bad way. Lupin and Nix work together to try surviving all the madness and bullshit, and really it's all very exciting. I have to admit, it is a great way to utilize the overarching Dream of Italy Da Vinci plotline, and while I'm still not a fan of it, it's at least nice to get great shit like this from it. It's got a small string of fake out endings at the end, some of them pretty obvious and others not so obvious. All in all, an incredibly action-packed episode that makes perfect use of the forced plot and Blue Jacket's superior animation. I give it 4 out of 5 Lupins. And with that, my friends, we are at the Blue Jacket home stretch. Starting with the next episode, episode 20, there are only 5 more episodes of Blue Jacket's first season left. Fuck, episodes 23 and 24 haven't even aired yet, at least at the time of making this video. So sit your sweet ass down, stay tuned, and we'll ride this sloppy motherfucker all the way to the finish line.